Ladies and gentlemen, whoops, that should be the number 2. Boop. There we go. Hey, hi. Okay, so, real quick, I've been playing this game for a little over 3 hours off camera. If you're wondering, that's longer than it took me to beat the game. Just to put that into a little bit of perspective. So, I asked, off camera just now, which stages do you think were at the top? Which one at the bottom? I didn't keep track of, like, individual stage, because that gets a little bit different. But, like, Quartz Quadrant, all of Quartz Quadrant, which one was the best, right? So, for anybody curious, dramatic pause. I put Stardust Speedway at the top. I was really impressed by it. While it does have the visual distinction issue, which dings it slightly, it still had some of the absolute best level design in the game. It was shocking how good it was and how much density it was. I swear I spent so much time going back and forth across Stardust Speedway, across all 3 of its timelines. At the bottom, by quite a margin, Tidal Tempest. Tidal Tempest is underwater. I'm just going to start with that. It's just... What? But it was also very frustrating to try and shift timelines in there. And honestly, they didn't do much with it. Well, I did give some negatives to Tidal Tempest. In fact, I think I just gave the 1? No, I gave 2 negatives to Tidal Tempest, excuse me. In addition to just the general negativity of the place, it was just a hassle. Just getting around was a hassle, which wasn't a problem in any other stage in the game. If you're curious, tied for second are... oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. Tied for third is Quartz Quadrant and Wacky Workbench. Palm Tree Panic is in second. I mean, duh, right? It's the same thing most Sonic games have. The first stage tends to be some of the best, right? Hi, Seth. Yeah, no, the water level sucks. I mean, lore shock, right? So, real quick, I owe you the good ending. Here it is. Savor it. That was it. Hope you enjoyed that. This is probably a good time as I need to mention that, as usual, the endings of this game suck. And I've said this with Sonic 1. I'm going to say this again. If your ending is worse than an NES ending, maybe think about that. I'm going to jot down a thing there. I don't know. I'm Falkenstein. It's whatever. Hang on. We'll get to the speed run in just a second. I want to show off a couple other things. Super quick, okay? And then I want to check something, and then we're going to do the audit. So I said I wanted to show off something. First... No. Here we go. Okay, all the buttons are reversed. You got to be a second. So hey, it's Sonic 1! Check it out! Woo! It's Sonic 1! Yeah. It's Sonic 1! It's so great! Sonic 1's such a great game, isn't it? So anyways, you can play as Tails. Tails is, I'm just going to say this as nice as I can, superior to Sonic in every single way. This is kind of it. This is the big thing he changes. But the thing that makes this more interesting for Sonic 1 in particular... Sonic 1 was already kind of inclined towards this kind of movement. Honestly, the first stage is not a great stage to show this off. Every stage after the first stage is a better stage to show this off. So, yeah, this is functionally a cheat code. Like, this is silly, what you could do here. I don't mind that, though. If you remember, several recent Mario games have leaned into the idea that the person you're playing as changes the difficulty of this game in general, and I'm actually kind of with that as a concept. Yeah. It is basically cheating, but and? If you want to play as Yoshi, go for it. You know what I mean? But you can also play as Knuckles. Knuckles is interesting because Knuckles is arguably even more cheaty than Tails. In Sonic 1 in particular. And the reason why is because Sonic 1 kinda sucks. A lot of the levels are very slow and arduous and platformy. Yeah, no, exactly, Chill Bang. That's why Tails works here, but Knuckles is even better. Because Knuckles, if you can, it's actually, here we go. No? Can climb. And glide. And unlike Tails, he can glide infinitely. He can just glide. So, once again, Knuckles is weirdly good for Sonic 1. Yeah, his glide also attacks, by the way. Just swept. Not even trying. Just swept. So, you're probably wondering, why am I showing off this stuff for Sonic 1? Well, I realized as I was doing my auditing of Sonic CD that I made a mistake. And this is on me. I was late for dinner, in my defense. But we're playing the Origins version, which means anything as part of the Origins version counts. So, yes! Sonic 1's score did go up slightly for that. It's at negative 34 now. Whoa! Anyways. So for CD, we now get, we also get Tails, which I've also mentioned. We do not get Knuckles for some strange reason. I also mentioned the time attack. It really isn't, Ross. Although, you know. So we've already talked about Palm Tree and a couple of these. I want to do one last thing. Okay, a little more... hello? There we go. I want to pay a little bit more attention to the visuals. Someone in particular, I'm not going to name names, said, Laura, you're dumb and you're stupid and you're worthless and I hate you, and then punched me in the gut until I agreed to re-examine the brickwork. Now, I mentioned when I was going through originally that I wasn't particularly impressed with the brickwork. And honestly, this screen does a really good job of conveying why. It's... noisy? I think we're going to go with the word noisy. It also doesn't convey a lot. Like, it's not that great to look at, but more importantly, Brickwork's job on the story axis is to get across story. It is the set, for lack of a better way to put that. Yeah, no, exactly. There's just a whole lot of repeated chunks in the floor, doodads being replaced over and over and over. But I am interested in doing my due diligence, so I'm kind of going back through each of these stages really quick here, just to double check my thoughts on that. Probably one of the more interesting things is if you go really up, you can actually see the floor up there, which of course now I'm failing at. I literally, there it is, you see that? There, up there, do you see that? That's the surface up there. Do you see it? Now that's cool, and an interesting aspect of visual storytelling, but visual storytelling and Brickwork are not the same things. With me? I mean, even this stage, look at this. This is actually something I've noticed a lot of Genesis games did because it was the style several Genesis games are going for. Lots and lots and lots of noise to show off their big fancy hardware. This is especially true since the Genesis was trying really hard to be the better SNES. And especially a lot of early SNES games went with a much more simplistic aesthetic. I mean, look at FF4 for a second, which, as a reminder, came out 3 months after the SNES came out in the States. In a couple of cases, yes. I'll show off a really good example, hopefully. I'm going to try to. Like, I have a specific one in mind I want to do. Do I think there's a mandate from Sega? I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Really. It also could just be the developers wanted to play around with the new hardware, or they were just trying to distinguish themselves. There's a lot of possibilities here. But yeah, once again, not impressed. Yeah, the special stages I'm actually reasonably impressed with. Sorry, hang on, I gotta get on this banger here. Okay, you can kind of see the roof up there, whatever, you know what I mean. You even get an outdoors section. Dude, the music got 4 positives for a reason. I'm sorry. I don't shy away from that. One of the things I find interesting about several of the stages in this game is they really try to trap you? Hello? There it is. I know it was there. Into going down or up, basically. Depending on the stage. They also play with the time mechanic more in some of the later stages. So, this was actually the specific stage I actually tried to show off to Chill Penguin. Unfortunately, I couldn't even show off how busy it was. Because the visual I showed him did not include the background. But this stage is incredibly visually busy. To the point where it's actually legitimately hard to tell what the hell's going on at any given point in time. Now, I've actually talked about this in a few other games we've covered. Some games will do clever things to make sure that you can always tell what is interactable and what is the backdrop. This stage does not do that. And I can prove this, like objectively I can prove this, because if you look at the background you can tell it's the same color palette and it's the same general brightness as the foreground. And that's a problem. Yeah, here, this is actually the exact section I wanted to show off right here. Ignoring the flashing lights, when I was going through this, if you were paying attention, this actually caught me. Because when I was going through this, I assumed that the electric stuff, which you could just walk right through, is just part of the background. These coils here, they're not. Those are an obstacle. See? Considering that the timing of that also coincides with the timing of some of the bounce pads in the level, I just assumed it was visual flair. So, yeah. Not a huge fan. But I wanted to show off one other thing. If there's any level that might get a brickwork positive, it's going to be Stardust Speedway. First of all, the musical notes thing is just a vibe, right? And I gotta... Give me a second, because I want to go down a bit. So there's the city down there. Oh, God, this level. I love this stage, I do, but man... So we've got the very, very crude, very NES style cityscape in the background, but it is interesting just looking at it. And of course, we actually have the space up above. But what I'm really trying to find is a portal to the past. Yeah, that mechanic, by the way, is another example of... Whoops! Oh, shoot. I didn't actually mean to do that. Hang on, hang on, hang on. There we go. That's what I was going for. Oh, shoot. Ah! Oh, my God. Boy, that would have been a great stretch to have a past portal on, wouldn't it? Just, you know, just see through there. This is something I mentioned in the review document. The later stages really start to get in the way of you going between the timelines. Now, that feels very deliberate. I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of it. Because it makes what is already a frustrating mechanic even more frustrating, just due to how irritating it is to even try to interact with it. And no, not at all, Rex. Honestly, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty sure I only picked up on that because I've been playing platformers for 40 years. I'm gonna try like one more time here. I'm just gonna give up on this because this is ridiculous. Oh my god. Hang on, hang on. There we go. Yep, there we go. There we go. No! Hey, Ross. Well, Ross, I was going to let you decide which version of the game we play for Sonic CD, but now I'm going to let you decide for 2. Do we play Anniversary or Classic? Well, honestly, I'm trying to find a time gate, and I'm feeling... There's the end of the stage! Jesus. Just... Come on, game. Come on, give me a time gate. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I might have to give up on this. This is just taking too long. Oh, they might not be in time attack. I didn't even thought about that. You might be right. Hang on, hang on. Didn't even think about that. No wonder I couldn't find one! Is there no past? Oh, that sucks. Okay, what I was going to show you is the Stardust Speedway is probably one of the most visually distinct of the zones, in my opinion, between past, present, and future. In the past, there's this giant castle. I actually mentioned this in my document. There's this wonderful castle that's there. In the present, there is a giant Robotnik statue which is in construction. In the bad future, there is a finished Robotnik fortress. In the good future, there is... It goes... I don't know what it is in the good future. But the point is, 4 distinct graphics for a fairly large portion of the stage. And yeah, final stage, which I was actually pretty impressed with. Not visually, sorry, the opposite visually. Gameplay-wise. But once again, mostly just like mechanical noise and colors that don't, you know, have distinction between front ground and background. No, I can't talk. Also, fun fact, several of these stages, the machine you have to knock over, whatever it's called, it's like right at the beginning of the stage. Good luck getting to it. Alright, you got it, Russ. And that's true, I have actually beaten Sonic Anniversary 2. Could you, like... Thank you. So in that case... Ugh. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pause this excellent song. Sorry. I was going to let you choose for 3, Rax, because you've got the investment there. So... Let me go ahead and pull this up. This is a speedrun of Sonic CD. Without the music, of course, because screw my life. So hang on, I was having issues earlier. Or well, I thought I was having issues. I actually wasn't. That's the weird part. Sorry, to explain that, I was getting chop on my OBS preview, and I'm like, oh no, that sucks. Like, is it the game? Is it the graphic? It was just the preview. I double-checked the VODs. It's fine. You guys probably didn't even notice any chop because there isn't any. By the way, Rax, I know you don't look at the polls I put out when I announce a new game, but I thought you should know. The poll I went out for this game was, which Sonic game do you think will score best? Sonic 1, Sonic CD, Sonic 2, or Sonic 3? So, 6% voted Sonic 1, 7% voted Sonic 2, 25% voted Sonic 2, and 63% voted Sonic 3. So I got a bunch of we're claiming ownership over your video kind of stuff, Jay Palmer, but nothing actually bad, thank God. There it is, Title Tempest. Okay, so. I realized I could have done this off camera, but whatever. I was already... It was taking me so long to type everything up. It's just some music company. I don't even remember which. I really don't. I don't even look at those half the time. Yeah, by the way, literally every game I start streaming, I put up a poll about it. It's on YouTube. It's on the YouTube post. Please do me a favor and tell me if you've never even heard of YouTube posts. I have a feeling at least some of you will jump in on that. Hang on, so Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic Superstar, and Mania. Listen, I don't know where you get your pills, Chemix Cow, and that's fine. Yeah, no, I actually put out several notifications that I'm starting a run because Twitch is not the most reliable about that. So I put out a post on YouTube, I put out an announcement on Discord, and I put out a post on my RSS feed, which is on my website. Yeah, sure thing, Rax. It has a horrible side effect. Every time I do that, your hair grows by an inch. Every time. Wait, no, Simple Gamer. Ah, shoot. Hang on. I guess I could, Frieza. I actually hadn't thought about that. I'm gonna have to figure out how to link those. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Off Mortis Ghost. Mudborn? Is that on the list? And Soul Calibur. Done. And thank you, Simple Gamer, as always. Not just there on your head. Yeah, you're just straight up a Wookiee now. Damn it, stop donating! I'm trying to... Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Winter. I do always appreciate you. I will jot that down for something. In just a second. Don't I love money? No, I'm not evil. Darkest Dungeon, Cyberpunk, and Evil Genius 2. Done. And thank you, Dr. Winter. Yeah, yes. A lot of people misquote that quote. It's not money is the root of all evil. It is love of money is the root of all evil. And let me tell you, that quote doesn't come out of nowhere. Another quote, which is pretty much the same thing I'm fond of, is money to love and people to spend. Oh man, I love that TV. Honestly, no, Diligent Dodo. Like, there were a couple of times where it was nice, like literally a couple of times, when I was going back through to get all the 60 some odd stages. By the way, did you know the variety of the stages between past, present, and future actually varies per stage? In some stages, they're near identical. Like, almost exactly the same. And then in some stages, they are noticeably different, and in some stages, they're barely different. That makes sense, you know, from a reality perspective. How much time they spent remixing the stages varies, but in some cases, like, the entire terrain is different, right? All this. Alphabetize. Yeah, exactly, Rex. It's like, ooh. Please don't ask me which ones were noticeably different off the top of my head, because I don't remember off the top of my head. It's pretty obvious in the review document, because you'll see me give a positive or negative for, like, past, present, or future, or just for the stage. Okay. Everything? So hang on. Yeah, I talked about that, I talked about this. So that's 3. Someone remember the number 3, please? Just gonna make this quicker. Like I said, I probably should have done this off camera. But... No, you guys... Yeah, that reminds me. Apparently, I actually asked, why aren't we playing Sonic the Hedgehog 4? Because someone asked yesterday. And I didn't have an answer off the top of my head. I barely knew what Sonic 4 was. So I'm like, oh, so I asked. And yeah, apparently we're not playing it because it's garbage. But here's the funny thing. There is a value in garbage. There is. I mean, we just reviewed Sonic 1. Anyways, that's not actually the reason why we're not reviewing it. The reason we're not reviewing it is because, yes, Seth. Hi, Loke. Is because it's not very significant. Like, it doesn't mean or do anything. It's a mobile game that was ported to PC. But also, and this is a funny one, it's long. I just for funsies, like, everyone's like, oh, it's so bad, it's so bad, it's so bad. So I decided to look it up. I was like, how long is this? And this is obviously, like, rough estimates, but I would say it's about 5 or so times the length of a typical Sonic game. But, you know, from this era. And let me tell you, if anything is going to convince me to not play an awful game that has no historical significance, it's the fact that it's also long. Like, that's the 3 strikes you're out for my reviewing something, isn't it? And yeah, I'm counting both episodes, obviously. Depends, Dr. Winter, and that is the truthful answer there. did. Thank you, Lord. Sorry, I've been turbo busy today. There we go. And I just want to say something really quick here. I only gave 3 negatives to how frustrating it is to time travel in this game. I want to give more. I hate the fact... I hate time traveling in this game so much. And it's so frustrating because it's so integral to what the game is. And it's just... It's so frustrating. I'm actually tempted, even as of this very moment, to give more. Because it's kind of a 1-2 punch, right? Give me a sec to jot this down and I'll explain. Like, we kind of already showcased it, but it's even worse than you thought. Bubble design over here. Yeah, I want you to allow me to push a button. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? So, an enormous quantity of the game is behind the time thing. Like, technically speaking... I don't remember if I actually typed that up, Rax. I feel like I did. Hang on. Rax really wants to interrupt my mind of thought here. Give me a second. Yes. Positive 17 and 18. I actually did jot it down. It's there. So let's talk about the time travel mechanics. So first of all, it is relatively easy to just play the game and never leave the present. In fact, I have done that a couple of times on accident. I've just gone through a whole stage and never time traveled. I see the gate, but I never actually successfully time travel. It just says future, and then I don't successfully get off the 88 miles an hour. And I just go ahead and finish off the stage. I wonder, legitimately, like, there's no way to figure this out, of course. This is Tidal Tempest? This is Tidal Tempest. What in the world? It is... I wonder how many people who play this game who never time travel. Now, this is wild to me, because the game is kind of designed around what Rax keeps calling it, the scavenger hunt. So, you know, roaming around. There's a lot that the game does, and most levels, not actually all, but most levels encourage you to shift, to roam around and find stuff. So there's monitors everywhere, there's rings everywhere, there's little side nooks and cool things, and of course, there's the machines, which once you break, save the particular timeline. And that gives you the new future, which is all bright and happy and cheery, and that's cool. Yeah, it's very, very different if you play it in the roaming and exploring mentality. And most of the levels are clearly designed around that mentality. But you can't do that, not really, unless you have access to the time travel. An enormous quantity of the benefit of actually doing that, the mechanical incentive to actually roam and explore, is in the past. Now, hang on, this gets worse. So that's our first problem, is it's just incredibly frustrating to successfully go to the past or present or future at all, to time shift. Because apparently what you have to do is you have to maintain a certain steady speed of either top speed or holding the spark for like 5 seconds. Even this I'm not 100% sure of, really, even as of this exact moment in time. I am not exactly certain of the specific programming behind the time shift, but you have to maintain some kind of speed for X period of time and not get interrupted and not lose your speed. Also, each gate can only be used once, but sometimes you hold on to your spark, but not always. Like, you saw this if you were watching my playthrough earlier today, where there were several times where I would be roaming around, and I had a future spark, and I didn't, like, I got it, like, 20 seconds ago. It was just still there, because I guess I haven't interrupted the spark yet, because I hadn't started the spark yet? Again, I don't fully understand the mechanic. If you want to limit it to the gates, which I can understand for a reason I'll talk about in just a second, let me go to the gate and hit interact. Let me go to the gate and hit yes, please. And then we're in the past or future or whatever, right? Because it's actually even worse than it sounds on that front twice. First of all, a lot of the stages, especially the later stages, do this thing where it's actually hard to get to the past and really easy to leave the past. Now that makes sense because the goal is in the past, right? The objective is there. What stage was it? I was looking at, I want to say, the workplace one. God, what's the name of the damn stage? Hang on. Wacky Workbench, that's it. Wacky Workbench is like, you have to go all the way over here to get to the thing, and along the route are several time gates, which are right in front of bounce pads that are basically gotcha bounce pads that will launch you along the route, which is almost guaranteed to fling you back to the present. So you have to be dodging time gates in order to avoid getting flung, right? So I could see why they would want you to only use a time gate to travel, because so much of the level design is designed around where the time gates are. But that's just frustrating. It effectively locks you out of the good ending because you made the mistake of hitting a button. But the second bad thing, and I know I've already mentioned this, but this needs to be repeated. I think this is actually a capital P problem as I'm talking this out here. The second problem is you can only use a time gate once. Once you've used a time gate, poof, it's spent. If there was one super easy band-aid to all of this, it would be making it so you could use them infinitely. I would still be irritated on several stages because some of the stages are very frustrating to get up the speed and maintain the speed necessary to time travel. Cough, cough, the freaking water stage. Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. If we're playing the one change game, make them infinite use. At the very least, then what happens is twofold. First of all, if I can't maintain the speed or I screw up, I can just try again, right? I can make another attempt and try to map it out and be rewarded for learning more of the terrain and the level around me so I can map out, okay, I want to jump here and then do this. Whoosh, time travel. Second reason that would be beneficial, you remember what I mentioned earlier about how the later stages kind of fling you back into the future? Like, pretty much against your will? Well, if you make it so that you can reuse these things, that still functions, right? Because if you're paying attention, if you make it a button press, those traps don't work anymore because you're not going to be flung against your will to the future. But if you make it infinite use, it's still a penalty for failure without being a total penalty for failure, right? What I'm trying to say is, as is, if you fall into one of those traps and get sent to the future, you've just lost the ending. But if you can use them infinite times, all you've lost is time. And you can find your way back, get back to the past, and now you know that trap is there to go. You get another attempt at doing the section, instead of having to restart the game. And yeah, maybe like getting all the time stones gives you the button. That would be another way you could do that. Just, boop, right? So as I think I'm talking myself into a capital P problem here. Let me part and parcel this for a second. Let me think about how to do this. This is by far the biggest problem with the game. I actually think this game would be legitimately very fun, interesting, and enjoyable, and I would have enjoyed most of the last 5 hours of my life if not for this 1-2 punch of this goddamn mechanic. Yeah, it's called a solution, Mr. Red. I don't remember what I covered recently, but we actually have a solution. What was it? What did we cover recently that had a capital S solution? Was it Homeworld? It had to have been Homeworld, right? Hang on. There it is. Yeah. Look at the story. Look at the story positives in the Homeworld 1 run, Mr. Red. Hell, I might even do a re-review of it, Rax, just to see how much it changes things. Because I imagine the level design is the same, so I can honestly just kind of copy-paste a lot of the level positives and negatives, and then just see how the rest of it feels. Lord knows we did that with Final Fantasy Renaissance, so we already have precedence there. Honestly, I agree, Kitten Fan. 100%. Meanwhile, Sticker Star is also filled with capital P problems. Did he win? Have I missed it? No, he's down to... Okay. Yeah, I don't think you could fix Sticker Star with one change. I really don't. You could probably make it better, but fixing it? Yes, Walker. Sorry. Yeah, all this so they can include a Back to the Future reference. Thanks, guys. You know, one thing I think Sonic 2 does better. Probably one of the very few things I think Sonic 2 does better than Sega CD. Or Sonic CD. Brickwork. Think about it for a second. Think about it in your head. Picture some of the stages real quick. I was glancing at Sonic 2 because I was doing some cross comparisons, and it's just like, ooh, that's... Yeah, it sounds about right, Mr. Red. Hey, Nordabe. Did he win? I think he did win. Oh, whatever. Sorry, hang on 1 second. There's actually one last thing I want to do. Bosses. Don't let me forget to look into bosses, because I feel like there's like one boss positive I wanted to give. Metallic Madness was actually really solid. It wasn't as solid as some of the later stuff, but yeah. The biggest problem Metallic Madness had, Metallic Madness 1, is it's basically indistinguishable from past and present. More like an absence of a negative, Double Dodo. I have offshore Twitch account. Okay, there we go. Okay. I'll jot down a couple things real quick. So I've noticed several people call this a love or hate a game. I'm curious, for anybody who hates this game, why? No judgment, I'm just curious. Or if anybody knows, like, the reason why. Damn you, Seth! How dare you not play this game? Okay. It's too different. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and be honest that I don't care, but I get that. It is also extremely short if you just go through the present stages and don't explore. Hey, who girl? It's 3! It's 3! No! Girl, no! Okay. No, you won't. It's okay. I don't blame you. Thank you for the sub, good girl. The conveyor one was probably my favorite boss, personally. Which, I'm probably the weirdo there, but I thought that was a really funny and clever way, especially how he kept freaking out more and more, as he kept grinding more and more of his mech out of it. No, unfortunately. I still can't alphabetize. So right now what I do is I pull it into a completely separate document, alphabetize it there, and then paste it back over. Alright. Holy moly, thank you, Dr. Spartany. And, as usual, if you would like to put that up to 3 things, please let me know. And thank you for 2 years of support. Oh, well, goddammit, Spartan. Time to stab. Stab. With a donut. It just splatters the donut over your shirt. That's really all it does. Alright, time to drown out chat for a second. For real, give me a minute. Yeah, Amy's apparently DLC. No, more than 5 seconds rest. More than 5 seconds. Oh, God. Did I like this game? Do you not see the score, Offshore Twitch account? You know what, in fairness, score doesn't necessarily indicate my opinion. Yes, I liked Sega CD for what it's worth. It has a capital P problem, and that massively drags down my enjoyment of it. It says 0? What? Why does it say 0? Anyways, that's weird. I don't know why that wasn't working. Moving on. So, the score's up to date. Now. Alright, so that's going to be a net +3 to story. I think that's identical to Sonic 1. Hang on. Yep. Look, it's a platformer with good level design. I don't know what you want from me. Now, hang on. What? It's a platformer with good level design. Okay, so that was towards Evercold. Dead Space R, and Metroid Prime Hunters, and then Vigilant donated towards... Aw, poor Trilla. I will put that towards Dealer's Choice. Thank you, Vigilant. I still think it would have been cool if we played as her in the sequel, but that ship has long since sailed. Yeah, the Sonic Advance games can join the absolutely gigantic list of Sonic games I have not played. Okay, Rex, I look forward to seeing that and just disagreeing with them top to bottom. But this is a good time as any to check something. Wow, this is our third update to Mina the Hollower. Oh, alright, so hey, here's the DLC for Sonic Origins. It's $10. What does this contain? Features 12 Sonic Game Gear titles. Playable Knuckles in Sonic CD. Amy Rose playable in Sonic 1, 2, 3, and CD. Also includes Music Pack, Extreme Missions, Mirror Mode, but I have Mirror Mode. More screen borders, new character animations, added music from other Sonic titles, and more! Whatever. That's not as bad as I was expecting. It's him, input buffering, fella. Yeah, no, one of the reasons that Mina the Hollower is not happening anytime soon is because I'm not playing a game at launch. The number of games I feel safe playing at launch is extraordinarily small. And Mina the Hollower was not made by Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo games, and that really might be it at this point. We'll see. What's funny is people are like, oh my god, the game's selling so poorly. And then they list facts showing how well the game is selling for Mina the Hollower. And it's like, why are you... You should have the tea and play Sonic 2. Some people, you know how it works nowadays. Oh my god, this game is gonna bomb. Yeah, exactly, Blade Tabal. The game isn't setting sales records. It's a total flop, and it's like, guys. One of the problems with Mina the Hollower sales figures is that a lot of their initial sales, which most people like consider the big sales for a given game. Yeah, I'm just blazing it here, fella. A lot of those sales are taken up by people who got the game for free by backing it. Like me. Because I didn't buy Mina the Hollower. I backed it like 5 years ago. People look at GTAs and like, oh my god. If it's not selling like GTA 5 did, then it's garbage. Yeah, I effectively pre-ordered early. Yeah, no, hitting 7 digits in your first week is crazy good. I'm sorry, I know some people are like, oh my god. Those people are dumb. And I'm just gonna keep saying that until someone somewhere actually listens to me. Or until it stops being true. Ah. No, it's either grifters who are deliberately lying because that's kind of what grifting means. Or it's just people who are like, I want this game to fail because I loves it when games fail. I do not, Ross. How much did Engage move? $1.6 million. Jesus Christ. Especially for a Fire Emblem game. That is damned good. Yeah, so actually, fun fact, for real. For economic reasons, I really don't want to go down the rabbit hole on. I tend to roll my eyes when people say that, game budget keeps going up because inflation or whatever. It's all... Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Here's the funny thing. GTA 6 is one of the very, very rare cases where the game really is actually legitimately that expensive because it has been in development for years and years and years and years. It really is an extraordinarily, legitimately expensive game. Now, here's the funny part. It is possible that it is no longer possible for GTA 6 to be financially solvent. It's debatable. Depends on what they charge for it. But here's the thing. Here's the funny thing, okay? If they charge less, they need to make substantially more sales to make up for that. And if they charge more, they will lose substantial sales for charging more. No, yeah, the only reason it's going to be solvent is because they're going to have GTA Online too, guaranteed. Because I'm not joking. They've basically reached the point where they are mathematically unlikely to make back their money on development of GTA 6. Ugh. GTA Online disgusts me on some of the levels. No offense to anybody who enjoyed it for what it is. You do you. But just what it represented and what it did for the industry just actively disgusts me. It did, love. Shark cards are a plague. So I'm looking at replayability. What I'm torn on, I feel like this game deserves a replay positive, but it feels like it doesn't quite deserve the second one. Like, on the one hand, it's like, oh man, the game is totally encouraging replay, but does it? Nothing really changes on a replay. Even your route doesn't change. It's just, you go to the past, and then you fix the past, and that's it. But it feels generally replayable. So, yeah, I'm feeling like the first replay positive. If I had to include online, would it have gotten negative score? Probably not. Being honest. GTA 5 is one of the best scoring games on my system for a reason. No, yes, that's exactly my point, Blow Up Alex. What, like financially, Trihexia? You realize GTA 6 not only isn't done still, but they're actively in crunch to get it finished. Which means that what happened is, at some point in time, 2K Games said, you need to stop spinning your wheels, you need to finish making the game. Oh, I don't even remember Starscream. Wouldn't surprise me. It was really early on for the CD consoles. GTA 6's budget passed $1 billion months ago. To my knowledge, we don't actually know the current budget because it is that high, and they're not reporting on it. Yeah, if a generator just shunts you to the good future from knocking it out, that would be interesting. How long has 6 been in actual development? Believe it or not, it's actually been in development for most of the time since RDR2, yeah. I don't remember when RDR2 shipped, but yeah. Then to now, whatever that is. Okay, so, time to piss off the internet. It is currently the most expensive game ever made, although I believe Star Citizen is racing to try and challenge that. GTA 6, to my knowledge, still does not have a release date. Price point. Again, it's not finished. We know it, I don't want to get too much into insider info, but they're still developing it. They're in full tilt crunch time. They are churning through temps right now to try and get the game out the door as quickly as possible. It is supposed to come out this year. Okay, so. Oh, hey. What's going on? Sorry, he beat the game. Woo! Depends, actually, Matt Overlord. Some stages yes, and some stages no. I mean, there's a reason Star Citizen has already been investigated and is currently ongoing investigation with the British government. Anyways, Sonic City. +3 to story. Pretty much identical to Sonic 1. That is 0.58 pluses per hour and a ratio of 71.43%. All, honestly, relatively low numbers, but that's whatever. Gameplay, +42. That is actually above average for platformers. That puts it around the range of about Mega Man 7, for a bit of perspective. Oh yeah, hang on. Yes. Look, I've had to deal with a lot today. I kind of forgot about the SSG. I still want to start Sonic 2 today. This is okay. It's okay. Everyone forgot to guess anyways. Now I lost my track. Where was I? Alright, so +42 to gameplay. That is 8.08 per hour, which is about average, actually. When's the review of Mega Man 7? Like 3 years ago. And that is a ratio of 79.17%. Final golden number. Who won? Looks like we have a tie. 100. And there it is. I've just pissed off everybody. I don't even care. At this point, whatever. There's no pleasing Sonic fans. 119.66. That means Kennex Cow and Trihexia both win. That's going towards the Jack block. Jedi Survivor. Yakuza 0. Killzone. Pragmata. And Plague Tale Wrigley. Congrats. No, that's a solid game. I will admit, I think it could be much better. I have already listed 2 ways in which it could be much better. But yeah, that is a gargantuan jump up from Sonic 1. That is an impressive leap forwards. What the hell is that? Oh, it's Sonic Spinball! Oh my god, it is. It's Sonic Spinball. I should unmute it just so you can enjoy the audio joy that is Sonic Spinball. I'm not going to. I'm not going to, don't worry. I guess actually all I got. So I'm going to go ahead and do some... It's so late. I might have to start Sonic 2 tomorrow. I don't want to start Sonic 2 tomorrow, but I might have to. The options menu music. Sega! Stardust Speedway. Easy answer. Off-road, what you got? Oh, got it. So, hang on. Before we start Sonic 2, I'm going to make a prediction right now. And it's that this is a good song. No, for real. I have a prediction right now. I think Sonic 2 is going to be the Mega Man 2 of the Sonic series. On the off chance you don't know what that means. Mega Man 2 is the popular one. Everybody knows about Mega Man 2. Most people who've played Mega Man have played Mega Man 2. And Mega Man 2 in many ways was the codifier of what a Mega Man game actually is. But it's not the best Mega Man game. Or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth best Mega Man game. It is honestly kind of, middle tier when it comes to overall Mega Man games. And that's Mega Man 2. Still a good game. I still enjoy Mega Man 2 for what it is, but, it's not that great. And that's what I'm predicting Sonic 2 is going to be, our codifier. It's going to be the popular one that everyone knows that really got the series its shot in the arm. Because, let's be clear, Sonic 1 sold reasonably well. It did. Sonic CD did not. So we'll see if Sonic 2, which is definitely a blockbuster failure and a definite console mover for the Genesis, scores a little bit better. Anyways, I have many other things to do, so I'm going to go do all those other things. I might not start Sonic 2 today, I'll be honest, because I got to get out. I got work to do. I'll be back at some point.